Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new edition of our program Newsroom Live. In today's edition, we cover a variety of international, regional and local news. I'm Lamia Abdesattar. Stay tuned. We'll start tonight's episode with the political segment as usual, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said on Tuesday Egypt has for long embraced the sacred family and a big number of prophets and messengers. Speaking during his meeting with the delegation from the World Council of Churches, the president asserted that the state would always remain a land of peace and tolerance. He reiterated that Egypt is committed to protecting the freedom of faith and worship and to boosting dialogue among religious institutions to contribute to cementing values of understanding. President Sisi hailed the success of the 6th Conference of the World Council of Churches, which was hosted by the Coptic Orthodox Church in Wadi Natron. The head of state noted that the conference, which was held for the first time in Africa since 1927, shows Egypt's historical and spiritual position. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati conducted phone calls with France's Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs Jean-Noel Barrot, Greece Minister of Foreign Affairs Georgios Gerapetritis, Saudi Minister of Foreign Affairs Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, and Jordanian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Ayman Safadi. We have the details.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati on Monday asserted the necessity of building on the outcome of the historical Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit, meeting the aspirations of the Palestinian people in having their own independent state. The minister made these remarks as he held a quadruple phone call with his counterparts from France to Greece, Saudi Arabia and Jordan in the framework of Egypt's intensified diplomatic efforts for enhancing regional and international coordination regarding Arab issues. Phone calls focused on the developments of the Palestinian cause and the efforts exerted for cementing a recently sealed Gaza ceasefire deal, with Abdelati stressing the necessity of starting the implementation of its second phase and launching post-war recovery and reconstruction across devastated strips. Preparations for Gaza's early recovery and reconstruction conference, due to be hosted by Egypt next month, also featured prominently at the meeting, being a pivotal step for uniting international efforts in supporting of the Palestinian people along a comprehensive Arab-Islamic plan to post-war recovery in the Palestinian territory. The top diplomats also discussed the dangerous escalation in Sudan, particularly Al-Fasher city, pressing the concentrated international and regional efforts to hammer out a ceasefire agreement for the African state, allowing a double the volume of humanitarian aid to the conflict-stricken areas, building on the outcome of a four-way meeting held in Washington with the preparation of Egypt to the end.
In another phone call, Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati reviewed developments in Sudan and Libya with Senior Advisor to U.S. President for Arab, Middle East and African Affairs, Mossad Boulos. The two sides stressed the significance of achieving a permanent and immediate ceasefire in Sudan, as well as preserving the country's unity and sovereignty to achieve Sudanese people's aspirations for security and stability. The phone call tackled recent developments in Libya, with the pair calling on uniting Libyan institutions and paving the way for holding presidential and general elections with the aim of achieving Libyan people's aspiration for stability and development. Chief of the Muslim Elders Council Al-Azhar Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib on Monday said that Al-Azhar deeply appreciates the Italian support for Palestinian legitimate rights through throwing in mass rallies to protest the killings, deportation, starving and genocidal acts against innocents in Gaza for 2 years. The Grand Imam made these remarks in a meeting with Italian President Sergio Mattarella on the sidelines of his participation in the Global Forum for Peace in Rome, hoping that Italy joins other fair countries who recently recognized Palestine being a prime step for the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with eastern Jerusalem as its capital. Sheikh Al-Tayyib noted that Al-Azhar is meant to spread peace, the main message of Islam, which efforts being crowned with the signing of the Humane Fraternity document with late Pope Francis of the Vatican in 2019. Welcome back, dear viewers, and to follow up on the issue of Gaza, we are delighted to be joined over the phone by Ms. Monica William, international relations expert. Ms. Monica, it's always a pleasure having you with us on Nile TV International. So, Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati conducted phone calls with a number of counterparts to follow up on the developments in the Gaza Strip after signing the agreement of halting war. So how do you assess the efforts exerted by Egypt in maintaining the ceasefire in Gaza?
Specifically, exert a vital and active role in completing the ceasefire agreement, working tirelessly on multi-side fronts in this diplomatic and political and humanitarian and reconstruction to prevent Israel attempts to drain or undermine the agreement or manipulate its implementation for political leverage. At the political and diplomatic level, as you mentioned, that Foreign Affairs Minister of Foreign Affairs Minister Abdelati actually tried to follow up, and Egypt has maintained intensive engagement in stabilizing the ceasefire and ensuring progress in ongoing negotiations. Last week, as we witnessed a high-level Egyptian visit to Israel, which consisted with meeting involved senior U.S. officials like Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and Mike Rubio de Vance. This diplomatic activity took place in parallel with Egypt also continued hosting of indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel. All of this came as part of Cairo's sustained mediation efforts to bridge gaps and push forward the implementation of the ceasefire. At the same time, Egypt has received and engaged various Palestinian factions last Friday to foster unity and coordinated Palestinian position. So this comes in a growing security complication inside Cairo, inside Gaza, I'm sorry.
And despite all these efforts, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday ordered the occupation military to carry out intense strikes on the Gaza Strip, claiming that Hamas violated the U.S. brokered ceasefire. So, Ms. Monica, how do you see this announcement?
Yes, it's a decision ordering the operation of Gaza stems from a belief that only full Israeli control can guarantee long-term security and ensure the recovery of remaining hostages. According to Israel reports, the plan involves establishing military zones under direct Israeli command, followed by limited civil administration. So it's expected, as this move deeply linked to Netanyahu's struggle for political survival. So under pressure from far-right ministers such as Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who threaten to collapse the coalition if Israel halts its military campaign, Netanyahu seeks to preserve its fragile government and to maintain his strategic relation with U.S. at the same time. So this step, he aims to address his right-wing base, deflect the criticism from opposition leader, and shift public attention away from his corruption trials and the government's failure in crisis management in general, of course.
I mean, this escalation, so Egypt has called for the reconstruction of Gaza conference in next month in November. So what are your expectations for this conference?
It's part of Egyptian strategy to tackle with this issue, the construction effort and its broader vision for this regional stability. It hosts a major expansion conference in November based on detailed plan announced in March, which estimated the total cost of rebuilding at $53 billion, and its engagement in Gaza is not the first time. As we know, and we have to mention that Egypt's engagement in reconstruction is not new. In May 2021, following the closing of the world war between Hamas and Israel, also Egypt allocated around $50 million for rebuilding efforts and established special and received contribution for domestic and international donors. So this project includes hundreds of apartment buildings, and as you know, the mechanism of reconstruction amid Egypt's economic challenge, Cairo and Egypt now position remains firm. The rebuilding Gaza is a national and humanitarian responsibility. Egypt expected to contribute within their means, and it's with, of course, regional and international partners will shoulder the bulk of financial commitments, of course.
And also, Egypt is contributing with workforce and equipment to search for the dead bodies in Gaza. So what are the results so far?
Of course, Egypt last Saturday tried to help with logistical and technical to try to find the hostages. There is ongoing trials to find, and as you know, it's very difficult now due to the collapse. It's totally collapsed, this strip, and this so it's a very difficult to try to recovery efforts or to direct response what Israel is currently using as its primary bricks to delay and condition progress on the ceasefire implementation. So it's part of Egypt to try to decollapse and to undermine Israel's efforts to take it as a condition or delay, as we mentioned, delay the progress on the ceasefire implementation.
So, in your opinion, how would the United States President Donald Trump respond to Netanyahu's provocative actions in Gaza?
Of course, as we mentioned earlier, that U.S. try, there is a political will and a real political will to try and to try to perceive the agreement and the implementation of the agreement as it is. A high-level visit last week, as we see the band and step workers and all of these high-level officials and representatives. So this will, I guess, its objective level. It will suffer the opposition of U.S. administration to this move, as it reflects a complex mix of security and political tactics and ideological measures. So Trump will try to retrieve this trial and to perceive his plan.
Yes, Miss Monica? Miss Monica, are you here? So thank you so much, Miss Monica William, the international relations expert, for your information and insight. And dear viewers, we'll have a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The 60th humanitarian aid convoy to Gaza passed through the sub-gate of the Rafah border crossing to Karm Abu Salim and Auga border crossings with Gaza. A Rafah source said the trucks are loaded with hundreds of tons of food.